Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going behind the scenes of what is honestly one of the most thrilling events in modern retail, the product drop. You know that exact feeling, right? A highly anticipated sneaker, some limited edition tech gadget, or an exclusive fashion collab is about to hit the market. The hype is incredibly real, the countdown is ticking down, and behind those closed doors, well, there's a massive, high-stakes logistical operation taking place. But look, we aren't just here to talk about sneakers. We're going to use the intense, fast-paced world of retail drops to master advanced business vocabulary, specifically the exact inventory management language you need to crush the TOEIC exam. By the end of this, you won't just memorize the words, you'll understand exactly how the whole business machine actually operates. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever waited online for literally hours, only to see the words sold out flash across your screen the exact second you refresh? So frustrating. Or maybe you've walked into a physical store and found totally empty shelves where the latest release should absolutely be. It kind of feels like a mystery, right? Like, why can't they just make enough for everyone? Well, it's actually not a mystery at all. It's a meticulously calculated science of supply, storage, and product movement. And understanding this science means understanding the exact vocabulary that makes the whole thing happen. All right, moving right along to Section 1, Inside the Stockroom. So, to figure out how this all works, we actually need to leave that glossy retail floor and step directly into the physical space where inventory management truly begins. These are our foundational space words. First up, the stockroom. This is the actual physical room where goods are held before they ever hit the sales floor. Now, the broader concept of keeping all those goods, that's called storage. Now, within that storage, managers need to know exactly where a specific sneaker size is hiding, right? That hyper-specific exact spot is called the bin location. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but highly organized. But the most urgent term here, especially for limited drops or organic materials, is our last one, shelf life. Picture a highly anticipated collaboration that features, say, eco-friendly degradable materials, or maybe a massive drop of a trendy new energy drink. They obviously can't just sit in storage forever. Shelf life dictates the exact length of time an item remains usable or fit for sale before it literally goes bad. In the business world, managing shelf life is a total race against the clock. It's an absolutely crucial factor in deciding exactly when and how to launch a product. Okay, let's shift gears to Section 2, Tracking the Flow. Let's move to and see how this builds. When the hype really peaks, demand skyrockets. It goes completely through the roof. To actually meet that demand, companies track their inventory and stock, which are the physical goods they have available. Every single time a cashier scans a barcode, a tiny digital beep registers in the system, and that beep, it's a crucial piece of record keeping, making sure the digital numbers match up perfectly with the physical reality. And all of this incredibly rapid movement builds up to one absolutely massive metric. Turnover. This right here is the ultimate success metric of a major retail drop. Turnover is simply the rate at which inventory is sold and then replaced over a given period. If you have a high turnover rate during a product launch, it means the item is flying off the shelves exactly as planned. Your marketing worked, the hype was real, and the business is making money fast. But think about it. High turnover means empty shelves, which means we need to get more products out there and fast. This brings us right to the vocabulary of refilling. You're going to hear terms like replenishment and restock when the store brings more items from the back stockroom out to the main floor. The system actually triggers this automatically when supply hits what's called the reorder level, which is just a preset minimum amount. Now, to make sure they actually have what the computer says they have, they do stock taking. That's a massive, usually store-wide counting event. But actually, there's a much more efficient way to count too. Enter the cycle count. Instead of completely shutting the entire store down for a massive, exhausting stock-taking weekend, smart businesses use cycle counting. This is a method of physically counting just a small, manageable subset of inventory on a continuous, rotating basis. It's kind of like doing a little bit of tidying up every single day instead of a massive, stressful spring cleaning once a year. It keeps the record-keeping completely accurate without ever stopping the actual flow of business. Which brings us to Section 3, When Things Go Wrong. Because, of course, not every product launch is a massive success story. Sometimes the entire supply chain just fails. This is the absolute nightmare scenario for literally any manager. These are the exact words no business owner ever wants to see on a monthly report. First up, we have overstock, which is where you ordered way too much and nobody is buying it. Oops. On the flip side, there's depletion. That's the rapid, complete draining of your resources. We already touched on shelf life. Well, perishability is the quality of goods that actually causes them to spoil.
And then we have 2 highly advanced, completely critical terms you absolutely need to have in your vocabulary.
The first one is obsolescence. Imagine for a second holding onto a massive warehouse packed full of last year's smartphone model right after the brand new one just dropped. I mean, nobody wants the old one anymore, right? That inventory has reached obsolescence. It's become completely outdated and basically can no longer be sold for a profit. It is a massive financial loss.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the word shrinkage. It sounds so harmless, doesn't it? Like you accidentally washed your favorite sweater in hot water and it just shrank. But in the business world, shrinkage is a catastrophic issue. It refers to the literal loss of inventory due to shoplifting, employee theft, damage back in the stockroom, or even just administrative errors. The inventory literally shrinks from your official records. And believe it or not, it costs retail businesses billions of dollars every single year. Moving on to Section 4, talking like a boss.
So how do professionals actually talk about all of this in the workplace? First, let's look at the grammar of business reporting. Managers constantly use comparatives and quantity language to describe changes in results. On one hand, you might say, shipping costs are higher than expected. On the other hand, you might report stock levels are lower than last month. You see what's happening? You're constantly weighing one metric against a past metric or maybe a future expectation. Mastering this structure is absolutely essential for clear professional communication. And when they pair that grammar with actual action, they use these essential workplace expressions. Picture a fast-paced Monday morning email chain. A manager is going to ask you to review the update and check inventory. You might need to confirm stock and request replenishment if those numbers are running low. It's your job to handle turnover efficiently, always making sure you follow the procedure and submit the details. Now, if things go sideways, like a sudden, unexpected case of shrinkage, you contact the coordinator, you provide an update, and most importantly, you take appropriate action. Do you see how naturally all of our new vocabulary just clicks together into these actionable phrases? It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, the ultimate TOEIC challenge.
Okay, you've learned the words, you get the concepts, and you know the expressions. Now it is time to step into the arena. Let's put your new knowledge to the real test with some interactive mini-boss battles straight out of a TOEIC exam scenario. Imagine you just sat down at your desk, you open your inbox, and bam, this notice from the department pops right up. It reads, "The department has issued an update regarding inventory. Staff members are asked to review the information carefully and follow the required procedure. The update also includes details about stock and replenishment. If further information is needed, employees should contact the coordinator before Friday."
Let's test that reading comprehension. Based on that email, question 1, what should staff members actually do? Well, if we look back, the text explicitly states they need to review the information carefully and follow the required procedure. Boom. Question 2, who should they contact if they need more info? The email directs them straight to the coordinator. You see? It's all about scanning for those exact key action phrases we just learned. And this brilliantly illustrates how we transition from reading over to listening. Let's look at a really typical spoken workplace exchange. An employee says, "I reviewed the update about inventory, but I still have a question about stock." The manager replies, "Please send your question to the coordinator. We need everyone to understand the procedure before Friday." Then the employee asks, "Should I include the details about replenishment?" And the manager confirms, "Yes, that will help us respond more accurately." Now, if you were listening to that dialogue on test day, could you pull out the key facts? Question 1, what does the employee ask about? Right away, they mention they have a question about stock. And then, a bit later, they ask if they should include the replenishment details. Question 2, what does the manager ask the employee to do? Well, just like in the reading email, the manager directs them to send their question right to the coordinator. Notice how the vocabulary just repeats across the different formats? It really reinforces how vital these specific terms are. So the crucial point is this. When you encounter these words, whether it's in a frantic email about a sneaker drop or buried deep in a complex listening section, you absolutely must identify the business situation first. Ask yourself, are they talking about the physical stockroom, the flow of goods, or a massive problem like shrinkage? Once you ground yourself in the actual situation, connecting the vocabulary to the speaker's purpose just becomes second nature. So the very next time you try to buy a super hyped product and you see sold out flash across your screen, I want you to ask yourself, was it genuinely unprecedented demand, or did the brand strategically limit replenishment just to manipulate their turnover metrics? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.